Binge eating disorder is eating a large amount of food in a short amount of time. The important part about that is the feelings and the shame and the embarrassment, everything that comes after the binge. The sense of, what did I just do? I need to hide away from the world. I feel so full. I hate myself. I'm a horrible person because I do this. It's all the same thing that a bulimic or an anorexic would feel. The big difference is that we don't use purging or other methods to get rid of the binge, as it were.
It started with my, under the premise of health. I wanted to get healthy, and I had a large body, so I thought that getting healthy meant losing weight. So I started gradually restricting my food intake and exercising more, and dropped some weight, and then got praise from everyone around me for dropping weight, because it was assumed that that's what I needed to do. And then all of that just kind of spiraled out of control, and very soon I was very compromised physically. You certainly couldn't tell by any outward appearance that I was struggling with an eating disorder. And if someone was to assume that I was struggling with an eating disorder, the assumption was that I was overindulging, not restrictive. So that was very confusing for me, and just coming to terms with the fact that I did have an eating disorder. And in learning to understand what I needed physiologically to nourish my body with food was so mixed up with all of these confusing messages. Based on my insurance coverage and the programs available, there was one fit that saved my life, because I believe, and that program believed, I wouldn't have lived through that summer had I not gone into treatment. When I went into treatment, on death's door because of starvation, I was in the overweight category on every height and weight chart out there. And I was very near the obese category. So to look at me, you would never know that I was starved. To talk to me, you might know.
If you are any female in this society, you have about a 28% lifetime chance of major depression. And depression's a recurrent illness. So once you've had one major depression, the odds of a second are about 50%. Second major depression, about 65%. And if you've had 3 or more depressions in your lifetime, the odds of getting depressed again are over 90%. But again, any woman, 28%. If you've got an eating disorder, your lifetime risk of major depression goes up to over 70%.
The evidence is overwhelming that there's a very powerful neurobiology that's creating eating disorders. There may be a lot of genes working together that may change the function of a brain neural pathway that then creates a vulnerability for eating disorders.
The genes that might predispose a teenage girl to develop depression or become suicidal or to cut or binge eat, those genes haven't really changed in the last few decades. It takes a long time through evolution for genetic potentials to change their combinations in our bodies. But we're seeing earlier display of and more of these problems because the environment is propelling those genes into action.